Good evening, Bronco Nation. What a game we had today. This is Bronco Nation Live, post-game coverage of Boise State versus App State. I am joined today by my father, more affectionately known as the Wish.com Santa, or Pops. Pop, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Boise State won.
Yes, sir, they did. So tonight was obviously a lot better than what we intended on it being. A lot more scores, a lot more defense. It was a good game. Pop, what's your initial reactions?
I like our defense.
Yeah. Would you care to elaborate?
Well, in games past, I have watched our rush off the corners, and it's been weak. We haven't really got good pressure back to the quarterback. Even if we don't get him sacked, at least get him hurried, get some hits on him, get him flushed out of the pocket. Tonight we were getting good rush off the corners, complemented by a pretty good push up the middle. I think that wore them down to where they got rabbit-footed and was contributory to the interceptions that we got. And it was good to see.
Yep. So we obviously had a whole lot better performance than what we had against Air Force. What kind of differences did you see in our front line this week versus Air Force? And did you do you think that attributed more towards App State not really being able to get any of the passing game going or the running game off the ground early?
Well, I was worried in this game right at the beginning, at the start of our first offensive drive. Our front line was more moving backwards than forwards on the running plays. You know, instead of stepping out, making contact, and being a yard or 2 yards past the line of scrimmage with a push to open the holes for our running backs to get through. Last week, most of the game, the defense was coming to them, and they were playing on their heel. Somewhere in the middle of that first drive, they switched. They started getting that push. They started moving the line to where it was creating the holes for them to move through.
Yep. So I agree. That first drive, it kind of was a little shaky, but we pulled through and did some good. Favorite play of the game?
What do I pick? Boy, favorite play of the game. I can't tell you what number it is. I'm not like you with the stats the way you got, but it was a critical third down pass. Madsen threw it behind the receiver. He made an adjustment, a catch that was phenomenal, was able to get his body realigned, turn upfield, get the yardage to gain and get the first down.
I believe that was one of our tight end.
Yes,
maybe
it was a tight end.
Wagner, I believe. It could have been Luttrell, or not Luttrell, Louder. So,
yeah, I think our tight end core is like second to none.
Yeah, our receivers, Caples, he got into the game early and often, which was good to see. Had a couple of drop passes. What are your thoughts on how the offense played as a whole?
Cohesive. It was definitely a team effort. It seemed like when one area was weak, they were able to go ahead and take advantage of other areas where they had their strengths. They were not. I don't think we got the long run holes opened up as well as we did before, but with Air Force, but we did get some. We still had good, and I love to see it, downfield blocking by our wide receivers. That I love that whenever they're giving themselves up to try and help get the extra yards for their teammates.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and go with the get in here real quick. Let's jump into the blue elevation. The blue elevation game stats presented by Blue Elevation, elevating Bronco sports through fans like you. Find out more by visiting blueelevation.org. Boise State won 47-14 at 473 total yards on offense versus 184 to App State. 312 passing, 65 for App State, which is really surprising given how this game was billed as App State coming in with the third-rated passing offense versus Boise State's 85th rated passing defense. So this was a really good showing for the Boise State secondary. Even though we did have some hiccups, but hey, a win's a win. We'll take the hiccups along with them. 8.4 yards per pass for Boise State, no interceptions, 152 rushing yards, 3.5 yards per rush, 25 first downs, and we got our penalties under control this week, only 5 for 55. Some may say that's still too many, but it's a whole lot better than 12 for 107. And they controlled the majority of the game with 38 minutes and 10 seconds. App State threw 3 interceptions, had 119 rushing yards. Dubinion was everything he was billed to be. I hated seeing him get hurt in that game. He bullied his way through the line on numerous occasions. I was impressed by his play. They had 4.1 yards per rush, only 9 first downs. Again, Boise State's defense showed up for this one. Penalties for App State, 11 of 94, including how many false starts?
There was 2 of them, but a couple of them could have been, except they
and numerous delay games as well. So Bronco crowd was in it today, and App State only had the ball for 21 minutes and 50 seconds. So we're going to take a brief break here, and we will be back and we'll be joined by Dominic Cressetto from the App State Syndicate. And I believe we might even get an appearance from Nick later on in the show. So we'll take a brief break, and we will be right back.
Looking for a healthy change? Just breathe and let the Organized Experience help you embrace change. The Organized Experience team masters the art of helping people find freedom through decluttering, organizing, and creating organizing systems. So if you're looking for a healthy change in 2025, give the Organized Experience team the opportunity to help you. Please visit their website at theorganizedexperience.com.
All right, we're back. We're going to bring on Dominic Cressetto here in just a second, but we do want to give Bronco Nation an update here. Ahmed Hassanin's father has been in, and he wants to let everybody have an update on Ahmed Hassanin, who formerly Boise State and currently with Detroit Lions. And Ahmed in Detroit predicted the score 48-24. So that's good that Ahmed had that prediction. And I think I read that wrong as wanting an update for Hassanin, but still is a good game. So go Broncos, and we're always glad to see former players' parents in the comment section, and we look forward to seeing more comments like these as the show goes on. Well, Dominic, not the night that you thought it was going to be.
No.
But what positives did you take away from all of this?
Very, very little. Like you said, Dubinion ran like himself, but now he looks like he's banged up. So this team went from bad to worse.
Yeah, and
unfortunately.
You can't have a running back like that, and everyone saw it last year with Genty whenever he just started bulldozing his way through things and ended up banging up his arm there early on in the season or middle of the season and had to work through that. Hopefully that's the case for Dubinion in this case. It's something that he can basically, if he can play through the pain, he can play. But he was everything you hyped him up to be, and I enjoyed watching him. Bob enjoyed watching him. So
I hated seeing him get hurt though, because if you're a football fan, no matter what, whenever you somebody's like that, has that kind of beautiful talent, you want to be able to watch them run.
Yeah, agreed.
Where did you see it all start falling apart for App State in this one? And I know these post games, when you're on the losing end of it, they're a little bit harder than when you're on the winning end, because there's not so much to talk about, especially when a lopsided contest like this. But in your opinion, where did things start falling apart, and what do you see for the future of App State going forward?
As soon as you saw AJ Swan's pick six, I was like,
Yeah.
Nope. They didn't clean it up. They didn't get better. They didn't take better care of the ball tonight. That was the thing that I thought the bye week would help with, right? Like recover, recoup, refocus. Didn't see any of it. I don't think anything improved. I think maybe that's a little harsh because Boise State is obviously a very talented football team. So maybe I should be looking at it through that lens. But as a Boise fan would look at it, if that happened to their team, all you want to do is be hard on your team because you always expect more. You expect better. Right. And unfortunately, we are seeing a changing of the guard continue at App State, where it's went downhill last year and it's continuing to go downhill now. It wasn't just not great play, and we were talking about it a little bit beforehand. Or well, I guess you guys were talking about it when you started off the show. It was bad penalties, pre-snap penalties, stuff after the whistle. Now, again, credit to a lot of the Boise fans in attendance for making it tough on those pre-snap ones specifically. But even some of the other things, they got lucky on at least their first scoring drive, where they got 2 penalties back, kind of, from stuff that you guys probably didn't like on the Boise side of things. But yeah, it was just too much of what has already plagued this team showing itself yet again. So it was tough to watch.
Yeah, and that interception you referred to, that excuse me, I had a bug fly in my throat. Wow. That interception was Amari McCoy. He jumped that out route, or might have been a stop route. He jumped it, and that could have gone either way. If he was a step later, that was probably 6 points for App State, and I'd be sitting here saying, yeah, our defense, our secondary keeps giving things up. That was the 26-yarder, I believe, there early on in the game.
And the thing, just in the previous series, you threw that same route, and he was laid off too much, and it went for 9 yards before he was able to make the tackle. So you burned him once, and he was up there waiting for it that second time.
And yeah. Neil Higgins, for, I'm assuming, an App State fan, no improvement, poor all-around performance. Hope the injured players heal, which we all do. No one hopes for injured players to not come back.
I'll tell you one thing. Mr. TJ Corman, the former App State player who hosts the preview show with me every week, did get a little detailed on AJ Swan. Said it was kind of fundamental football. As a former quarterback himself, he said he is locking on to his first read, and that's all he ever does. And it's telepathically telling the other team exactly where he's going to go. And we saw it twice with the 2 pick sixes right from him. Yeah, it's just tough to watch a kid that whenever you get a Power 5 transfer, you feel like, all right, we're going to improve here, Power 4 transfer, whatever we're going to call it now. But yeah, you feel like you're going to see some improvement. I mean, we had Joey Aguilar, who now goes to Tennessee, and then we get this kid, and we're like, okay, no real drop off. Maybe even improvement over what we saw with Joey out of last season. And it's just not what we're kind of sold on to be. Now, I mean, he had some good plays. I'm not saying he had an all-around awful game, but yeah, he didn't have his best. And again, that's what we were looking for, to change going forward after this bye week, this early bye week.
I'm probably a little less critical on him because he's not on my team, but there's 2 things that I would say. Our quarterback made a number of throws behind receivers, and our receivers made great adjustments, padded his stats 2 or 3 times with passes that could easily have been incompletes that because of their athletic ability, they brought them home, got the ball, and made the yardage. I seen a number of passes on the numbers of your receivers that were dropped. So,
Yeah.
I know quarterbacks all got to improve, but whenever you're hitting receivers in the hands and the ball's hitting the ground on more than one occasion, that affects your confidence in throwing the ball, and that affects a lot of things in that respect. So, I would be a little less harsh on your quarterback as what you are. But I do understand what you're saying. I tend to get pretty harsh on him myself, but we've had the likes of Kellen Moore here and some of the others that are just such a shine. Anybody that comes after him has got big shoes to fill.
Yeah. And to be fair, like you said, I mean, the offensive line really didn't do well in protecting him, which again is credit to Boise for causing those disruptions. So yeah, he didn't have as much time as he had in previous games. Let's put that way too.
Yeah. And he's not without his faults either. We mowed our faults were overshadowed by the fact that we were doing so well on offense. You have Madsen, who several times rolled outside of the pocket whenever his lane was stepping up to hit an open receiver, and it cost us a few there. So just because your quarterback had Swan had some bad plays doesn't mean that he was the only one, and that's true in every game. I mean, you look around the league today, there's so many overtime games that probably shouldn't have been overtime just because of stupid mistakes. So
yeah, very true.
Yeah. But this game was billed as a where did that come from? Did I do that? Hold on.
You need to fire your producer.
I think I know where it came from. This game was billed as a top-rated passing game versus a bottom-rated passing defense. But we did make mention that Boise State's offense, being number 11 overall, was going up against the number 27 overall defense. We did make comment about strength of schedule being the main factor in that, for App State being ranked that high. Do you think, obviously, playing a stiffer competition, do you think that's was 100 absolutely the correct assessment, or do you think that App State's going to get into conference play and make a little bit more noise than maybe what they did out of the conference?
I've seen nothing that makes me think positively after these first 4 weeks. Besides, like Dominion being pretty consistent. But yeah, I mean, this conference, and much like you guys have a tough conference slate, right? At least the top couple teams with you are always tough to beat. You can't just take a game off, and App hasn't. Right, we talked about them not playing strong opponents within the first 2 weeks. Their first strong opponent, as we talked about, was Southern Miss, and Southern Miss looks pretty good. They whooped up on Jacksonville State today, but that was still a game that we thought that they could win, and that's why I just really thought it was going to hit a turning point now. If it hasn't hit it now, my confidence level with a conference and an East Division that currently includes ODU and James Madison, who both look very, very good. Marshall team that just put up 51 points in an overtime game today, who lost to Louisiana, actually, in like you said, one of those other overtime games. They're going to have to score, and they're going to have to get better at doing so. And the defense is going to have to get stronger as well. That wasn't a strong point today. I thought the secondary was going to look pretty good for a team that hadn't had a ton of passing yards, and they just didn't look very solid in that regard. And it wasn't that the tackling was awful. I thought they actually did okay when they needed to make the tackle. Maybe not in the running game, but in the passing game, once the corners and the safeties were making tackles, that wasn't too bad. But there was guys that were completely wide open with uncontested catches that just made it seem like it was being it was easy. And so it's tough to see a bright light. Do I think they'll go like winless in conference or anything? No, they'll probably get something. But I don't see them. This doesn't look like a bowl team to me at this point. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to bring Nick on and let him give us his in-game experience, and we'll see you guys in a minute.
The Plaza Inn owners, Jason and Selena Jungling, are huge supporters of Boise State. If you've ever watched a game, chances are you've seen them as the superfans, the Flintstones. So let's show them as much support as they've supported Boise State by making the short drive over to Ontario. Enjoy dine in and carry out by giving them a call at 541-889-3550 for homemade breads, pastries, and soups, or check them out on the web at plazainrestaurant.com.
All right. Nick Wade, the man of the hour. How are you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great. Can you hear me?
All right, we can hear you just fine. So it's not the close game that everyone thought it was going to be, not the high, or I thought it was going to be, I should say. It's not the high-scoring game that it was destined to be, could have been, given the two really most winning G5 teams since what did I say? The last 10 years, 2015, I think was what it was. The two winningest G5 teams in the last 20 or 10 years. So given that billing, this much anticipated, how was the energy in Albertson Stadium today?
Yeah, energy was great. Like we were talking about in the preview, the weather couldn't have been any better than it was at kickoff. It was low 80s, very nice for whiteout. Yeah, it went a little bit different than we thought. Very surprised with the way App State's passing went. But I'll take that because Bronco Nation was really concerned about that. But yeah, the atmosphere was buzzing. It was great. I took my two boys and we had a great time.
That's good. Make a family affair of it. Now you know that you have to take your two boys to every game in order to have these same results. So Boise State, I know we made mention after the loss to USF. Whenever we were previewing Eastern Washington, Boise State has to make each game from here on out a statement game. They have to beat the spread. They have to blow out the spread in order to get back in the good graces of the voters. They absolutely did that today, and almost by themselves covered the over and the under. So how did you see our offense from your perch there in Albertson Stadium?
Mm-hmm.
How did you see our offense improvement from USF? Of course, you went to the Eastern Washington game and in this one. From Eastern Washington to now, how much has that offense improved?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to the App State fans. They had a pretty good presence up around the Southern Bowl. At first they were playing a little tricks on us when we were doing the Boise State chant. They were piping in the App State, and it was kind of throwing things off at first. And so love to see it, man. Way better than some of our Mountain West foes. Some of those fans are just corny. So no, they were great. The offense I thought was good. I think App State really focused in on that running game. And that kind of opened up the passing game. And aside from a few ducks, that Mad Dog will throw occasionally, I thought the offense looked great. It was kind of like It was a flip though from last game where it was the rushing was just dominant.
Yeah.
But I think with them going into this game, I think App State really wanted to focus in on that, and they were pretty stingy, but again, that opened it up. I really I don't know if anybody caught this, but we had a two-back set. At least one of those plays, and Malik Sherrod got a pretty good gain out of it. I think he got like a 10 to 12 yard gain. So really interesting to see that, and some of these some of the play calling that Potter put in there, a little magic, especially with that two back set. But yeah, the star goes to the passing offense this game.
Yeah. And you made mention of the rushing game, App State keying in on that. They still had 152 rushes, and it was really spread out amongst all of our stable. And it really goes to show how deep the Boise State bench is, the running bench is, I should say, the running room. No running back really has to do the full workload like an Ashton Genty had to do. And he really didn't have to do the full workload. He was just a beast, and everybody wanted to see him run. But you had Sire Gaines had 69 yards on 12 carries. Sherrod had 49 yards on 9 carries, and Riley with 46 yards on 16 carries. It really seemed like the run game was just kind of there for App State to key off on, so that Matson can get out there and throw his 321 yards and 4 touchdowns. So I agree. The offense, although it may not have seemed like they improved much based on the rushing numbers, the decision making was better this game than what we've seen in the past, and the line held their own better as far as protecting Madsen. I think that App State had the 1 sack, but that was Cutforth took the sack. On defense, everybody thought that Boise State secondary was going to give up all these yards. McCoy, much improved. He only had the 1 touchdown that he gave up and I know Alex is out there somewhere sitting down watching this maybe, and she's saying, turn around and find the ball, because McCoy got caught looking straight at the receiver's numbers. And Dominic, can you refresh my memory who that receiver was? With the pass. I know, I put you on the spot. My bad. It was Stroman.
Oh, Dalton Stroman. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Stroman with the 7-yard reception where right in the back of the corner. And I know me and my dad were yelling, turn around, and you can knock that down. And it just seems like that happens at least once a game. Luckily, it didn't affect the outcome in this game. So
that was, however, a beautifully thrown pass.
Yes, it was. So,
yeah.
Given that, knowing that we held that high-powered passing offense to just 65 passing yards, you got to give the secondary at least an A-, right?
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about, that was I wrote about it. That was a major concern, and yeah, A- or and even an A. That unfortunate gaff that McCoy had there, that happened right in front of me. But I think
he made up for it. He did have the pick 6, so
yeah, his pick. Yeah, it was easy for me to forgive him because he had already gotten a pick 6. So I thought the secondary did great, and I'll even give some government here. Jeremiah Irby did great. He redeemed himself. So props to Coach Warren and that core. I think that they went to the lab and did some work, and you could see it on the field.
Yep. And one thing that we definitely did not want to see, Jaden Mickey going down on a kick return. And he gave the thumbs up. We hope he's okay. We obviously probably won't hear anything until game time on if he's good to go or not, just because of how Boise State is with their injuries. But being pulled off on a stretcher, you got to think that's gonna ruin his homecoming, and he's probably not going to be in the starting lineup or maybe even dress out.
Yeah. Out of everyone, that's probably one of the key pieces that we need for the Notre Dame game. But hopefully, I'm just going to hope for the best, and hopefully it was just very precautionary to get him out. Maybe it was a stinger. I don't know. And when we probably with college players, you never really get a full answer on some of these injuries. So we'll just have to wait. We'll have to wait until they, next Thursday when they put out the, who's available. I guess that's what they call that. That availability update. But yeah, and then another one another key piece that went off of the stretcher was Roger Carrion, our lineman. So hopefully that'll turn out all right. But that'll be a big blow if Mickey can't come back. And hopefully the knowledge that he has about that defense he can share with our offense.
Yeah. Dominic, I'm gonna ask. I know I asked you at the beginning of the show, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask you one more time, just because we have quite a few more viewers in here since the beginning. If there's anything positive you can take away from this game for App State, what's your positive going to be moving forward?
I'll stick with the first one. I thought Dominion, like you guys said, was everything you guys were told from me and maybe read other places. I mean, 113 yards in a game where App only scored 14 points. His average per carry went up from his season average. He had his longest run of the year against you guys. So I thought he performed well against a very, very solid, very good and talented defense. But that's really the lone bright side. I mean, I was going through some stuff. I mean, we attempted as many passes almost as you guys completed, which blows my mind. So we attempted 28 passes. Madsen completed 25 all by himself. I would not have thought that, or the fact that we'd be sitting on 65 total passing yards at the end of this one.
That one shocked me. Whenever I was doing the stat card, I had to double take, make sure it wasn't a typo.
Yeah, even watching the game, you're right. Like, I'm reading it and I'm like, that. I mean, I know it was bad, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
We didn't even get 100 yards on the year.
Right. Dubinion was definitely everything that you talked him up to be. I enjoyed watching him run. I hope he's able to continue on, and it's just a stinger or something that he's going to be able to play through and be an asset for y'all, because it looks like your quarterbacks need a little help.
Yeah, they need as much help as we can give them. That's for sure.
Yeah, and you gotta ask yourself too. You got down into an early hole, it was 21-0, and Boise State being able to key off on your quarterbacks, knowing that the run game is basically going to be non-existent to try and get back in. That's Boise State football. If you go and look at it, look at the games where the secondary really struggles, it's going to be the closer games because they have to defend both the run and the pass. Now that they're able to, when they get those early leads, they can really tee off on the quarterback. So maybe that's what happened here, and your quarterbacks in line will improve a little bit better this week, and you'll be able to make a run in the Sun Belt.
We'll hope. We actually have another out of conference game as Oregon State travels across. So we don't have to do the traveling this time. Now we get to host a team that's winless,
Nice.
But they'll probably earn their first victory next week, I think.
I don't know. They're pretty terrible.
They are, but I will say this, did some scouting Friday night since they played, and I was impressed with how they looked. I don't know if they made a change at quarterback, and that's why they, looked a little better.
Yeah.
But I was like, ooh, this team is they may be winless, but they're going to play tough, and we'll see if we do the same. But
I tell you what, Alabama has Georgia's number. They just took them down 24-21
oh wow,
in Georgia too. That's got to sting.
yeah.
Well, Dom, you want to go ahead and give us your Sun Belt conference roundup and go ahead and run through your scoreboard real quick?
Sure. So we know that Boise took care of Av 47-14, right? They'll start there because that's the one we're going to spend the least amount of time on. We had a Sun Belt Championship rematch this week, and I saw a comment here from one of our usual viewers, and most of us wrote this off, right? Marshall had been depleted because their coach left, their team left. From the national media perspective, they didn't all leave, but that's what the common talk is, that they all left.
Right.
Louisiana was 1-3 coming into this game. We thought it was pretty easy to say Marshall was going to take victory, and they were up quite a bit late. And Louisiana comes storming back and wins 54-51 in double overtime due to a guy named Lunch Winfield. So yeah, that's a shocker there. North Texas continues to be undefeated, and they roll pretty easily over South Alabama. They put up a fight, the Jags did, but 36-22. So South Alabama couldn't get back to the winning ways. One of the early conference favorites in James Madison looked the part today, winning 35-10 over Georgia Southern. They remain undefeated against Georgia Southern. Both of those teams just win at home in that series. There's been 4 of them since they've been in the Sun Belt, and each team wins at home every time so far in that one. Louisiana Monroe gets their first victory over Arkansas State in pretty much forever. That game affectionately known as the Rice Bowl rivalry. They win 28-16 in that one. Another conference favorite, kind of a dark horse before the season started, but after the Indiana performance and not losing since then, Old Dominion takes down Liberty 21-7, a game that probably would have been further in Old Dominion's favor, but it was sloppy, just drenching torrential rains the entire time. So some missed opportunities in that one. Otherwise,
they
hopefully
have
would have been a
they have them hurricane bands coming in on them, don't they?
Yeah, and I think I don't know if that's what part of this is, but it's going to get worse for them being up there in
Right.
Norfolk. It's like it just floods easily up there, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
And then rounding it out, Southern Miss, we talked about them playing App the week before. They continue to look pretty good, 42-25 over Jacksonville State. They avenge a really big blowout loss to them that they had last year. We know that Southern Miss team is just a 1-win team from last season, but a vastly different roster, different coaching staff, and they are off to a 3-2 start and 3-1 at home. So looking pretty good.
And
that
all
rounds
you
it
really
out
got to
for the
do,
Sun Belt.
all you really got to do is look at Marshall last year to figure out what Ole Miss is or Southern Miss is going to do this year.
True. Yes, you can do that.
It sounds like the Sun Belt's kind of having a power change right now. Some of these seller teams are starting to make a little bit noise for the season favorites.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we've often talked about a couple of these teams like, hey, are they going to move on from Ricky Rane, who came from the Penn State coaching tree with James Franklin to take over the ODU job? And he hadn't really had that season he really needed to have just yet. They make a bowl game last year. I think they were up 21 points at some point in their bowl game, and then they ended up losing that game. If they didn't start off pretty good this year, those voices get a little bit louder, but they are looking exactly how a lot of people thought they would look. And then, like you said, Southern Miss turning the corner with this new coaching staff. Coach Huff is very familiar with the Deep South when it comes to recruiting. He kind of was the oddball up in Marshall. I think that was the reason for his leaving, was he just didn't really like it up there. I don't think it was really much about Marshall, the institution, as much it was like maybe family and friend life wasn't really as enjoyable as he thought it might be. I wanted to be back down south and stayed in conference, a rare in-conference coaching move. But yeah. In Monroe continues to kind of come up from nowhere. They've been awful ever since they've moved up to FBS, to be honest with you. They started off 5-1 last year. beat a favorite in James Madison, took down the 2-time champions Troy, and then they lost 6 games in a row to end the season and missed out on a bowl somehow. So if they can kind of continue their early season form this year, then maybe they've got a shot, like you said, to switch some power in the West Division.
Yeah. Moving on, we're going to go ahead and run through the Mountain West scoreboard real quick. Obviously, Boise State took care of business tonight, taking down App State 47-14. Utah State, everything that I thought everything that I thought that it was going to be, they held their own early, and about midway through the third quarter, it all kind of just started falling apart from there. They lose 35-55 to number 18 Vanderbilt. If you really love offense, then the San Diego State Northern Illinois game was not for you. San Diego State wins on a last-second field goal, 6-3.
Did you happen to see that? Like, what happened in that?
I watched the final kind of. I didn't watch the whole game. I was in. I think it was like just outside of the 2-minute timeout. Okay. I had looked at the score and I went, what? that can't be. ESPN's website is bugged or something. So I tuned into that game like, oh my God, you've got to be going 34-0 against Cal to 6 points against Northern Illinois. However, Northern Illinois, they have a big beefy line, man. They have an NFL line. That's something they've been known for. And they took down Notre Dame last year with an almost identical line. So they have the talent and they have the ability to pop off and hit anybody at any given day if the ball falls on their falls their way every now and then. So Northern Illinois, they could be a defeated team and they can still pull off one of those upset wins like that. And it makes them dangerous. It makes them a trap game for sure. New Mexico State. That game, it lived up to everything I thought it was going to be as well. New Mexico walks away with this one 38-20. Hawaii and Air Force. I really had high hopes for Air Force with this one after watching them play Boise State last week. Zarka, he where'd it go? There it is. He had 278 passing yards, so more passing yards than what he had against Boise State. So we can finally say that Boise State didn't give up the most passing yards to the Air Force. 278 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and added another 139 yards on the ground. Cade Harris had 3 receptions for 116 yards and a touchdown. So all you people, Air Force fans out there, you've got some hope out there. You just need a few more things to fall into place. But Hawaii walks away late with this one, 44-35. I say walks away late. They kicked a field goal to kind of put it out of reach late. Washington State really controlled the game against Colorado State, 20-3. I was really surprised that was a 17-point game. I really thought Colorado State was going to pull that one out. In the long run, they did not. Stanford and San Jose State play a thriller. Stanford wins 30-29, and that wraps up your Mountain West scoreboard. So, Dominic, any parting words? Because we're going to say goodbye to you and Wish.com Santa or Pops. And Nick and I will go over defensive player of the game and offensive player of the game and whenever we get back. Dominic, what's your parting words for your fan base?
Oh, man, for the fan base, let's hope it continues to get incrementally better. I don't think we're going to see a big jump. All right, that was what I was hoping for this week. But it's not over. Like you said, we've got 1 conference loss, so it's still a possibility. Let's see if we can bring that culture back and try and get back to the Boise of the East. I'm sure you've heard that before.
Yeah.
So that was what we were hoping to be. It's obviously we've fallen on some hard times here. But more than that, I want to thank you guys for reaching out and having this happen. This was really enjoyable. I've heard a lot of our fan base. I saw a lot of people at a local bar too with pictures. Everyone said they were having a blast, and that was obviously before the game. We'll see if they feel the same. But it seemed you guys were very hospitable across the area, and people really enjoyed the trip. And we hope to return the favor when Boise comes to Boone.
Yeah, they had a blast before the game, and they're probably blitzed after the game.
Let's hope for their sakes.
It's so I'm going to the Notre Dame game next week, and buddy of mine during the USF game, he's like, "So Boise State." I'm like, "Yeah, I really hope Notre Dame has alcohol because I'm probably going to need it to get through it." But that was just based off the USF performance. Obviously, I think we're a little bit
Right.
better than then, and we're going to be going into it. But just on that performance, that's where I was at.
Yeah. One quick question before I do go. So Notre Dame gets blown out. Do you like that? Do you not like that going into your game with them next week then?
They Notre Dame didn't get they blew out Arkansas. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
I
flipped it. Yeah.
I really wish Notre Dame would start looking like Notre Dame in 2 weeks and not the week before they play us. They picked the wrong time to start looking like themselves. They could have won that game close, and I would have been okay. I would have been like, all right, it's close. It's Arkansas. They're pretty good. But for them to have blown them out like that, it does give me pause for next week. But at the same time, we took care of business at App State. We didn't look ahead. We blew out an opponent, too. And so both teams are coming off a big win. So maybe it becomes a defensive struggle at that. Defensive, offensive thinking, oh, yeah, we got this in the bag. So it could be a defensive struggle. I look forward to previewing that game. I look forward to being at that game as well. First time going up to South Bend, so I'm really excited about all the history and everything up there as well. So, but yeah, I'm a little nervous about it, but at the same time, if we play like we played today, even if just our defense plays like we played today, we're going to stay in it at least till the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a much better game than I had I hadn't put a lot of thought into it, but now I'm really looking forward to that one. I'd love to see Boise wipe the floor with them. I'm sure that's not going to be easy. But yeah, like you guys said, resume builder, right? Now they're going to be still highly ranked because of that big victory today. So it's going to be a really good shot. Like you guys said, you need all those ones you can get to build on that. I'd like to see it start right there.
Yeah. Nick, CFP on the line next week. Are you more concerned or less concerned after watching Notre Dame take care of Arkansas today?
Well, I like what they did today. Only if we can squeak out a victory next week. But that playbook needs to be wide open next week. But yeah, no, that got me by surprise. I thought it would be a little bit closer than that, and I feel for TG10 over there. That had to have been a tough loss for him. But I do want to say before Dominic gets going, I want to say thank you, Appalachian fans. You guys are great at the game. You guys are good to my kids walking out. So thank you for coming to Boise, spending your money, and watching the game with us. Thank you, Dominic, for coming on these 2 times. You've been awesome, man, and I love that you're following too. They're great fans online too, and because I've seen some pretty nasty trolls out there, and your following aren't any of them. So appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
We do have some that are a little out of hand sometimes, but most of them don't hang around too long.
Yeah, we have cousin Eddies too. So
yeah, there you go.
I got something.
Hold on. So you made mention of Taylon Green. He was 17 of 32, 207 yards, and 1 interception, and 3 sacks. Had a QBR of 52.6. Had 10 carries, 81 yards. I think this is the first game he's had where he didn't score a touchdown or throw a touchdown. So it was a rough day for old Mr. Green. So, all right, Pop. Now it's your turn. What is your final thoughts for Bronco Nation?
Okay. First off, for App State, you kind of ran into a buzzsaw. This was, without a doubt, the best coached I've seen Boise State since the season started. Their offensive coordination was spot right on. They ran plays, it set up plays, it made touchdowns, and made your boys look like they didn't know what they were doing. You were out coached to start with. And then there's one thing, having watched Boise State football for half a century, that you ran into that is always worth probably 14, maybe even 21 points, and that's the blue turf. So when you run into the blue turf and then run into as well a coached team as what you ran into today, the outcome's just what it was. So take heart. Nobody else has got the blue turf, and nobody else has our coaching staff. So you may do better in the future than what you think.
Yeah, it's a good team. It is a good team. It's a good team.
Yep. And what's your final thoughts for Bronco Nation on the game?
I'm not that worried about Notre Dame. If they keep up the coaching like they had this week, and the injuries that we've had are not, super debilitating, and Mad Dog keeps fine-tuning a little bit so those behind the receiver throws come right on target with the rest of his throws that are on target. Our running stable. The other thing I was glad to see is Gaines get the ball as much as what he does. I think those short yardage situations, I wouldn't put the ball in anybody else's hand but his. You pound on that line with him for a while and then put that speed in there to take his place, and they get lulled into not thinking they got to move as quick, and we pop them long runs and make touchdowns. I'm predicting that's what happens against Notre Dame. I think the running game more than the passing game is going to beat them.
All right. And there is one more score that'll make both fan bases happy, just because nobody outside of Utah likes BYU. Colorado currently winning with 7 minutes to play in the third, 14-10 on number 25 BYU. However, BYU is driving, so. We will be back, and we will give you your offensive and defensive player of the game. And Dominic, it was a pleasure getting to know you this week and getting to know your team. And I look forward to doing this again in the future sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Bronco Nation Live is brought to you by Blue Elevation and the Serving Bronco Nation directory. Hey, Bronco Nation, if you're looking for more followers, clients, or customers, check out ServingBroncoNation.com and get your business added to the directory. When you purchase a tax-deductible plan, you are investing in Boise State and getting access to millions of views throughout the year on the directory and the Bronco Nation network.
All right, Nick. And then there was two. So we had a really good game, Bronco Nation, and the App State fans. And I just want to go ahead and go the game stats presented by Blue Elevation, elevating Bronco sports through fans like you. To find out more, visit blueelevation.com.
.org.
There we go. So we had obviously 147-14. Boise State had 473 total yards, 321 passing for 8.4 yards per pass. No interceptions on the night for Mad Dog or Cutforth. 152 rushing, 3.5 yards per rush, 25 first downs. Got the penalties under control this week, only 5 for 55, and really controlled the game. Time of possession, 38-10. For App State, we had 184 total yards of offense, surprising 65 yards passing. Really surprised probably everybody in attendance and everybody watching now. It was pretty good performance on Boise State's defense to hold them to 65. 2.3 yards per pass. The 3 interceptions, 2 of which were pick sixes. 119 rushing yards, 4.1 yards per carry. Only 9 first downs too. That was surprising as well, and I think they pretty much came on the scoring plays. Penalties, 11 for 94. Pre-snap penalties really hurt App State this week, and only 21-50 on the time of possession. So it was a pretty dominating performance. The lone bright spot for App State was Dubinion in his rushing. He had 113 yards on the ground with 17 carries. Nick, overall view of the game as a whole, what was your thoughts being there? You're in person. Your thoughts as the game as a whole. Give them to us.
Yeah, sent out those updates on at the half and at the end. Basically, for me, what it all wound up being is the defense really just kept the game in check. That's what you want. You really want the defense to have a say in these games, and that's having the defense dictating how a game goes. That's when your offense can run at will, can do the things that it wants to do. It doesn't have to it doesn't have to go on a heavy rushing attack, as we can see this game. And what really opened things wide open was that pick six by Marion. But yeah, that for me, if there is an overall topic on this thing, it was the defense and how they shut down that. Once they shut down the passing, then it was pretty easy to know that either Dominion was going to rush or the other second two was, and then when the passing wasn't working, then they became a one-dimensional team, and they're outside of Dominion, their rushing game isn't their strength, so it really it made it pretty easy for the Broncos to keep that game in check. And I mean, there was really not even a doubt, after the first couple of series about, in my mind, who was going to win.
Yeah. And defense is right. And that brings up our Christine Asin's local, that's spelled OLOKEL, real estate, giving home buyers and sellers professional, responsive and attentive real estate services. Visit localrealestate.com for more information. Christine has your real estate needs covered, just like your defensive player of the game, Bo Phelps. Phelps had 6 tackles, 3 of them of solo, had 1 sack, tackle for loss, the interception, and, of course, the pick 6. How was his play, Nick? You saw it in person. I'm always jealous that you get to go to these games and I don't. His play in person as your Christine Asin's local real estate defensive player of the game.
Yeah, Bo did fantastic, and I know between both of us, it was hard to pick a deep hog, because there was a number of Broncos that had some really good stats. As far as Bo, what's cool about Bo too is we had him on a Blue Turf Talk during spring camp, and he made the switch from safety to linebacker or vice versa. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, just from being there live, he may not have had the most tackles, but that dude was flying around, and and then that just to put the cherry on top, that pick 6 felt so good for him. He's put in a lot of work. He's been working his tail off since last year and going into spring and getting that opportunity, and he's made use of it. And they're going to need him now. They're going to need him even more with if Mickey's out for any more extended time. And he's ready. He's he was flying around, and he was uh, just imposing his will on that offense, and that that goes to show you what um, the the surprising performance that we saw from App State. I thought it was
Right.
just going to be a barn, at least a barn burner, but 14 points on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I know these numbers aren't eye popping. Last week we had Benefield with his 11 tackles and really imposing his will as well. But App State didn't have the ball that much, and when they did, it wasn't for very long. So you're not going to have the eye popping tackle numbers. But Benefield did have 7 tackles tonight. Notarani, no tongue tied. Marco, there we go. He had 6 tackles. Jaden Virgin Morgan had 6 tackles, and then the sack. And so yeah, Washington had 4 tackles. Rip had 4 tackles. Feely, hope he's doing good. He had the 2 sacks. So you're right. It's just everybody really came together for this one. No one person had to do the majority of the work, which is what you want to see on a defense. So, but Phelps with his pick 6 and his tackle numbers earns your Christine Hassin's local real estate defensive player of the game. So Nick, offensively, Mad Dog, no interceptions. Really lit up the field tonight, and I attribute that to App State teeing off on the run game. They were going to try and make Madsen beat him with their arm, and he did just that. There's a bunch of drop passes, a few drop passes that should have been caught. Penalties were down on offense as well. Offensively, what was the overall buzz in the stadium with our offense?
Yeah, I mean, the line again, solid line performance. You hate to see Roger Carrion get injured. Hopefully he's all right. But when the defense was solidifying the ball and allowing the offense to get that ball back, they were able to establish the run early, and then like I said, App State was really focused in on the run, and I think what really started the wheels going was Trell. He's that savvy veteran that gets things going. Caught a few passes there in the beginning, got that the initial touchdown, and that really is what kind of sparked everything going. And like I said, there's Mad Dog, will have a couple ducks here and there, and he'll get crucified from certain fans, but you got to remember, he just does not turn the ball over, and that's what you want from your quarterback.
Yeah.
And after everything was said and done, from where I was in 2 sections at this game because I had my season tickets and then I had my kids, but they're just like 1 or 2 over. But in my section, everybody's really supportive of Mad Dog. And then after halftime, I went over where my kids were because there was an empty seat, and I heard the Mad Dog detractors on that side. And but if you look at the stats, take that for data: 25 for 37, 321 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and he just typical Mad Dog, kind of roll out, find what's open, and there was there's probably about 3 frozen ropes that he threw that nobody could even catch except for his receiver. So he's got that. He does have that talent. Just nobody really gives him a lot of credit because I think they're just so enamored by the height or whatever it is. But I look at he's a winner, and
Yeah.
he hardly ever turns the ball over. So Mad Dog did great this game.
That leads us into our player of the game, the Plaza Inn Restaurant, American restaurant located in Ontario, Oregon, with homemade breads, pastries, and soup. Come in, relax with friends, eat some comfort food. Visit plazainrestaurant.com to learn more. Your Plaza Inn Restaurant offensive player of the game is none other than, wrong one, Maddox Madsen. And like you said, Nick, 25 of 37, 321 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 8.7 average yards per pass. He really ate up the competition and is your Plaza Inn Restaurant offensive player of the game. Well, Bronco Nation, we like to invite you to like, follow, share, and subscribe to YouTube. This is how we monetize and really put forward a product to be able to give back to the college, give back to Boise State, give back to the sports. And Nick, why don't you give us a deep dive into Blue Elevation and what that means and what people can expect if they donate to Blue Elevation and donate to the Serving Bronco Directory. How does that help keep the players on the field?
Yeah, so with Blue Elevation, it gives you more freedom of where you want your dollars to go, and like I've always said, that anything and everything counts. So there's not, we're not looking for big huge donors or anything like that. But you give $1, you're part of the Blue Elevation fam, and what that means is, we're a type of fan base that we want to step our game up to championship level. So, if you want to help out, like say the volleyball team or the softball team, or you have that ability to go to blueelevation.org, and in the comment line at checkout, state where you want your donation to go. Also, we have we have a scholarship for walk-ons that we've helped out in the past called the Beyond Blue scholarship. It's was set up by Boise State Hall of Famer Carl Kiever. He is a 3-time All-American linebacker who played for Boise State. And then on the flip side, we're always looking for sponsors on our Serving Bronco Nation directory. And we've been able to prove the concept with the reach with Bronco Nation updates. We reach about 2 million viewers every month, and that's even during the off season. So, we want to market for you if you're a small business or an entrepreneur. Just check out one of those plans. They're super affordable, and you're gonna, when you purchase one of those plans, you also have the ability to direct that investment to whatever program that you want or a scholarship. You just let us know, and we'll get it. We'll get it in that bucket, and then we're gonna proudly go to work for you because Bronco Nation supports businesses that support Boise State. So you get on the directory, you pick your plan, and then let us do the work and get you those new clients and new eyes on your business or your content or whatever the case is. But other than that, Bronco Nation Updates is free. We on the content part, You never have to pay to be a VIP if you're a Bronco fan. You're a VIP to us. There's no paywalls. The content is great content. It's full of thought, a lot of information. We do have a lot of workings on the inside, and we share that with the fan base so that you know more about each and every program. Because the more you know, the more that you can support them and go to the games and be the 12th man or whatever it is, or be in Bronco Gym and helping out the women over there, or at Donna Larson and helping out the softball. And so for you to do that, just go to Bronco Nation Updates and read all the free articles, watch all the free videos. But we do want you to like and subscribe to all of our platforms, and they're all free. And it's just a click away. And our hopes is that that'll help our platforms monetize so that we can share that monetization with Boise State. And that's part of that new revenue sharing aspect of college sports. So in a nutshell, we offer a whole lot to Bronco Nation, and we just want you to jump on board and be part of the fam. It's fun.
Yep. And you see our sponsors on our offensive and defensive player cards. That's how you get on our cards, is become a Serving Bronco member, Serving Bronco Nation member. Now, one more time, game stats presented by Blue Elevation. Elevating Bronco sports through fans like you. To find out more, visit blueelevation.com. Boise State wins 47-14. They put up 473 yards, 321 through the air, no interceptions, 4 touchdowns, passing touchdowns for Madsen tonight, 152 rushing yards, 25 first downs. They really took care of the penalties, over half, cutting it up by over half, and really controlled the game with 38 minutes of play time. Your Plaza Inn restaurant, American restaurant located in Ontario, Oregon, with homemade breads, pastries, and soup. Come on in, relax with friends, and eat some comfort food. Visit Plaza Inn Restaurant .com to learn more. Your Plaza Inn Restaurant player of the game is Maddox Madsen, who really ate up the competition tonight. He had 25 of 37, 321 yards, 4 touchdowns, averaging 8.7 yards per pass. He did have that one little snafu where he fumbled the snap. Tried to pick it back up, but hey, I'll take that over an interception any day. And going on to defense, your Christine Asin's Local, that's spelled Lokel, real estate, giving home buyers and sellers professional, responsive, and attentive real estate service. Visit local, Lokel, realestate.com for more information. Christine has your real estate needs covered, just like your defensive player of the game, Bo Phelps. Had 6 tackles, 3 of them for solos, an interception and a touchdown, and a tackle for loss. Bo Phelps is your Christine Asin's Local, Lokel, real estate defensive player of the game. Nick, what are your final thoughts tonight for Bronco Nation?
I want to say this: the team, you guys did great, and secondary, thank you. You exceeded my expectations, and a lot of Bronco Nation. We were very concerned. So thanks for going to the lab and doing your homework and really raising that level of play up. Bronco Nation, great job showing up at the whiteout tonight. Want to encourage you to stay a little bit longer, even when it's, even when the game is at hand. Our student athletes put in a lot of time and effort and work, and you know what? They feed off of us because, just like probably Sam or anybody else, I've seen games where they go sideways really fast. And, if you have some of the fan base not in the stadium, could go sideways sometimes fast, and they really need the 12th man. So just encourage you to stick around longer and, even stick around and give them high fives after the game. They, that really does something for them, gives them fuel for, the next game. And, but great job, Bronco Nation. You guys were loud. It was awesome. I really, I hope all you that are going to the Notre Dame game, I hope you have safe travels. We will see you there. Bronco Nation updates will be present in South Bend. So make sure that you're subscribing to our YouTube channel, because we're going to go live and we're going to pick up some of these festivities that are in South Bend that cater to that game when you play the Domers. So make sure that if you do anything, become a sub on YouTube. I greatly appreciate it. And as always, what I always say, bleed blue, elevate your fandom to that championship caliber, just like our student athletes are trying to do on the field and on the court.
Yep. Well, I do want to say thank you to App State for giving us a fun game. It may not have gone your way, but thank you for coming out and enjoying yourself on the blue. Thank you to the fans. Thank you to the Sunbelt Syndicate, Dominic Cressetto, for coming on and joining us this week for the preview show and the post-game show. I know it's probably a lot funner on the preview show than what the post-game show was for him, but that's to be expected. But thank you guys. Thank you to all the App State fans that stuck around and listened to Nick and I dribble on about nonsense. Nonsense to you, it means something to the Bronco fans. But thank you guys for staying in, and thank you for commenting. And we really love seeing the interaction. We encourage it. Bronco Nation, whenever you see these shows go live, remember, hit that subscribe button so you get them notifications on YouTube. We love seeing the comments. We love interacting with you. And we're going to do this every week from here till the end of the season. We'll maybe even on into basketball. May not be for every game, but we will do a couple shows a week, keep you in the loop in basketball. Nick, thank you for bringing us your in-game experience. Next week, we both get to give our in-game experiences, so I'm excited about that. Excited to be going to the Notre Dame game, especially with that rich history they have up there. So that is my end thoughts. It was a great win. The secondary really stepped up. I was really impressed with how they played tonight. The run game, though it wasn't as dominant as what I thought it would be, the passing game more than made up for it, and I'm really happy with how that all played out. So, Nick, if you don't have anything else.
I just had bleed blue. Go Broncos.
Bleed blue. Y'all have a good night. Go Broncos.
Hi, I'm Ron Dorn. I'm president of Blue Elevation. A lot of you have probably heard of it in other sites like Bronco Nation Updates, and I just want to talk a little bit about Boise State football and what we're trying to do to help move the team forward. It's a lot of fun to work with them, but as you know, with the upheaval in college football and the NIL money, we're always needing more, and we're trying to do that by giving more news to you than you can get in other sources, and events that you might be able to attend. And we would just love to see your support, additional support for Boise State, so we can take this to the next level, especially moving into the Pac-12. I see such a bright future for us by doing this. For those of you that are as old as I am, you remember when we had wooden bleachers and we did rodeos in the stadium, and we had good coaches, and we were doing the best we can with what we had. These coaches need that continuated support to make it happen for us. You can see what we've done with what little we've had, but we really need the help, and we just need the commitment, and we need you to get involved with us to push the Boise State program forward. Again, especially going to the Pac-12, and especially the futures out there. what the basketball team is doing, the women's softball team is doing, and some other sports that I follow. We just want to keep you involved and focused and helping us out any way that you can do that to support our university.